Everyone, thanks so much for joining us. Alrighty, guys, we got another new one to tear the shrink wrap off here. This is a game called Midway Solitaire Deluxe Edition by Decision Games. 2025 was kind of a down year for my wargaming stuff, of taking 4 months off and not having a lot of time. Just didn't do a lot of wargaming, so I decided to try and find a few games that might get me back into it a little bit more. So hopefully this will be able to do that because I'll have, Solitaire. And seems like a really cool game. I've been meaning to, it was on my top games to play in 2025 and in 2024, but I never ended up getting it. So I forced myself to get this one, and I'm going to try it out. Midway Solitaire Deluxe Edition. Let's take a look and see what you get when you tear the shrink wrap off. Before we do anything, we're going to tear this nasty shrink wrap off, and then we'll see what we get after that. We'll take a look at it. Okay, let's take a look at what we have here. So, it's one player, 2 to 4 hours. It is 700 miles per inch. It's a high complexity and solitaire full. So, Midway Solitaire follows the campaigns in the Pacific Theater of Operations from April to June in 1942. This period saw the Japanese take the offensive in two major campaigns, including the battles of Coral Sea and Midway, both decided by aircraft carrier actions. You command the United States Navy and Allied forces, while the game system controls the Imperial Japanese Navy. You take on the role of Admiral Nimitz in terms of the operational options available and decisions you can make to repel the Japanese Navy's drive across the Pacific. You must defeat multiple naval offensives, each possessing superior numbers. The key to winning is to balance your limited assets to meet the threats presenting themselves over the course of the game. The course of the War of the Pacific is at stake. Dun dun dun. Alrighty. Let's see what we got. First time it's been. We have 2 bags. 2. We have a single solitaire D6. In its own bag, I should mention. We have the instruction manual. We will look at that in detail in a little bit. We have the counter sheet number 2. I wouldn't call this a counter sheet. I would call this a counter, clip? Counter something. Then we have counter sheet number 1. Let's take a look at these counters up close and personal. Good looking counters. Okay. We have a reference sheet. And of course, the big game board. Now, do I want to keep it in the bag? I don't know. We won't destroy the bag until I decide, so we'll keep the bag as is until I decide if I'm going to actually keep the bag or not. Let's move all this stuff out of the way. So we can put the map out. And I just clobbered the microphone. And the keyboard. Okay. Let's see if we can zoom out and kind of give you a broader overstroke of the game board. Just get that out of there. Move that down there somewhere. Alright, so that is your game board. You have U.S. Task Force up here. More U.S. Task Force. Oh, I'm sorry, this is Japanese Task Force. Makes much more sense. Japanese, U.S. Looks like I'm going to have to get something to lay this flat down. Because otherwise it's going to... Alright, you got some charts, some terrain effects charts, key terrain, battle displays. Here's the Battle of Midway, the Aleutians, the Solomons, and Port Moresby. Here's their different charts down here, and their carrier groups over there. There we go. Put that on top of that for a little while as we go through this. Let's check out the rule booklet now, because this is going to be the most important thing. So 32 pages long. The introduction. The game terminology, unit counters, stacking, no stacking limit, then that's it. So it's only 6 or 7, 8 pages of rules. Then it goes into setup. Oh, maybe that's not true. This is setup. Then you got the sequence of play. Goes through all the sequence of plays. Fog of war, combat, targeting, incidents, additional counters, different scenario, and then an example of play starting on page 18, so that's nice. And then you have kind of an overview of the game starting on page 20. Kind of learn about the game and the system and the different aircraft and the ship that were involved and what actually happened. in the Battle of Coral Sea. I would love to see you as a gamer program like your ships doing all this crazy stuff. Like, and here's the Battle of Midway. Again, we kind of think of it as, two forces coming together. It's not. It's all about this spaghetti. And that is that. That is that. Alright, so that's what you get inside the box. These look like optional counters. OPT, OPT, OPT. So these look like all optional counters, like for optional rules or optional things that you can do. So I'm not sure we're going to be punching those out anytime soon. I might just leave these right where they're at. Unfortunately for these, that's where we come into having to actually I was trying to see if there's a way to do this without having to punch counters or clip counters, but we shall see. That is one of the reasons why Wargaming for me decided to take a little bit of a step back in 2025. Because the amount of time and effort it takes to get the game to actually to the table is a lot longer and harder than a normal regular game. Eurogames, there's no counter clipping in Eurogaming. There's no counter clipping in sports gaming. I know it's a rite of passage that a lot of wargamers are proud to do. I know Rough Swordsman has always said he's very happy to do that. But for me, it is the downside to a system that is completely broken. In the long run, the counters actually don't look too bad, but they're still going to need to be counter clipped. Unfortunately. So that's another hour you're going to have to spend. I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't even care or mind to having these little nibs on them, but for me, it would drive me crazy. To have these little nibs on them. So do you waste the hour? Yeah, we're just going to counter clip them. So that way we're ready to go when we're ready to go. And probably yeah, we'll probably do that offline. Alright, well, hopefully this gives you a pretty good idea of what you see inside the game. Again, this big box out of the way. Hopefully it'll spend a little bit more time flattening out a little bit. Maybe I'll put some more, put on the floor over there and put some games on top of it. basically a sheet and a little bit of counter sheets. You get a nice rule booklet with a lot of detailed information. Doesn't seem like it says it's a very complex game, but it doesn't seem to be, tons and tons of rules. Obviously, there's a little bit of wargamey stuff, talking about the counters and stacking and moving and all that stuff. But a lot of this rule booklet, again, it's only 32 pages. A lot of it is background history. There's an example of play. There's aircraft information. There's, the grand strategy of the game. That's like, half the rule booklet right there. And then an example of play. So your 16 pages of rules, which is not too bad, actually, for a war game. So we will see what we can do to get this to the table sometime. I say that with all the new games I get, but I've got 6 new games that I've got to get to the table and do unboxings of, including another new war game you guys might be interested in. 1812, Napoleon's Fateful March. So we're going to be doing that sometime, hopefully today. So we'll see everyone then. Take care. And see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.